Welcome to our Toward the Dawn channel and especially to Unlocking the Word. I'm so glad that you're listening or viewing this podcast. And I want to invite you to like it, share it, subscribe to it, not because we're looking for numbers, because that doesn't matter to us at Toward the Dawn, but we are looking for as a group of people who just absolutely love the Word and who love to dialogue about it. So be sure to comment your insights into the word for the day or to something I've said. Feel free to disagree or feel free to fill in the blanks of something you think I missed. And we will have a wonderful time working through these wonderful texts. And of course, we're going to keep our channel and our podcast safe. We're not going to allow for abusive language, hateful language. This is going to be a podcast that's all about respect and about coming together to embrace what God is speaking to us. So anyway, thank you for listening, and let's do the unlocking the word for today. Hi, Pastor David Tart here. Another unlocking the word on Luke 18. Luke 18 that is a incredibly wonderful window into the audience that the gospel writer St. Luke was addressing. I mean, think about it. Whenever we write something, we have an audience in mind. Someone we're writing to, trying to express a message or ask a question or whatever. And St. Luke also had an audience in mind. And this audience was the early church, right? First century stuff. People who had heard of Jesus, probably maybe directly from a witness to Jesus. We don't know. Or had heard about him through family, friends. Word gets around. What we call the oral tradition, stories being told about Jesus and what he stood for, what he brought, his death, his resurrection, all these things. And so we can ask, though, what was that audience like? What were the issues that they were facing? And that's how this text we have, Luke 18, is so powerful because it gives us a window into what was happening with those first century Christians. Because Jesus tells us in the very first line of this story, Jesus told his disciples a parable about their need to pray always and to not lose heart. The need to pray and the need to not lose heart. And what we can infer from that is that these first century Christians were having the same problems we're having. Discouragement. That's it. They were discouraged. The currents of the river were flowing against them. The wind was blowing against them. It wasn't behind them. Life was not easy for them. And it makes sense. I mean, we think we have challenges today. Well, think about first century Christians. Paganism, other gods, Roman rule, rampant materialism. They don't have the access to knowledge. They're full of ignorance and superstition. I mean, everything is just clouding their minds. I can see how obviously difficult it was to be a Christian and how it'd be easy to become discouraged and just say, why bother? Why bother? Plus, there were so many other religions to choose from. I mean, pick your choice. It's kind of like a cafeteria of religions, cafeteria of gods, cafeteria of superstitions to choose from. Why choose? Why go with Christianity? Plus, Christianity seems to ask so much. It's like we were saying. It was asking people to break the boundaries between people. It was asking people to become servants. It was asking people to love and to forgive. It was asking people to have hope in the midst of death. It was asking people to give up their superstitions too. To go against the grain. So yeah, they could lose heart, lose their passion. And I think this is where we enter into the text, because I've heard that the greatest danger from the church, for the followers of Christ, is not from lack of money. It's not from people not walking the talk. The greatest danger is people not caring. People just going through the motions of Christianity, saying the prayers, attending worship, but just going through the motions, because deep down inside, you've lost heart. There's no passion in it. And it can happen to all of us. Me, you, times in our faith when we just don't care anymore. Just live life day to day. So Jesus tells this parable, and it's an incredibly wonderful parable. And what it really is, he's already told us what we need to do. Pray. Keep a relationship with God open. Even pray when you don't feel like it. Even pray when you don't believe it. Even prayer is how we can keep ourselves encouraged. And then he tells this story about a widow who wants so much to have justice from her opponent. Who knows what's going against her? I think about it, she's a widow woman. There's a lot of things not working well for her. One, Paul, she's a woman and she's a widow. Bottom of the bottom, she has no rights, can't own property, all kinds of things. This is a person who would easily raise the white flag and give up because it was hard. And she's had this injustice. We don't know what it is. Somebody's ripped her off, taking advantage of her. Could have been over, who knows what. But she keeps going at it. She keeps trying. She doesn't give up. And finally, the judge just says, okay, you've nagged me enough. I'll give in. It's kind of what Jesus is. By the way, he's not he's not approving nagging, but he is approving resilience. Resilience. He is offering up determination. He's offering up when you reach the end of your rope, you tie a knot in it and you hang on. Because the one thing that we never want to lose, and this is to me how this word really gets unlocked, the one thing you never want to lose, the one thing I never want to lose, and I'm saying this passionately as I can, is faith. 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 And let me tell you, it's easy to not feel it. When you just get a diagnosis that you have cancer, or you just heard the terrible news of losing a loved one, and whatever, you've just lost your job, or things are hard financially, it's so easy just to want to give up and just refuse to try anymore. Faith won't let us. What is faith? Faith is trusting, 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 and more trusting. And trusting in the face of opposition, face of difficulty, is absolutely one of the hardest things we ever have to do. So what I'm saying is kind of going through this, maybe one of the hardest things we ever have to trust is God's love. You know, we talk about God is love, but there are two things in that statement which are kind of hard to get our mind around. One is God. What do you mean by God? And the other thing is the mystery of love. I always think it interesting that people who study evolution can justify just about everything under survival of the fittest, but they have a hard time understanding why and how humans love. It doesn't fit in the evolutionary theory. Why is it that there is love in the universe? And what is that? That God cares for us. And that even though the times are dark or just difficult, to trust that God's going to care for you through other people in ways you're not even aware of. I'm in my unlocking with this, that when we go through difficult times, and we all do, I know I have, it's so easy to fantasize about the future. So I think, well, man, I've got this problem. So this means this is going to happen. I'm going to lose this. Or what am I going to do if this happens? And we just start fantasizing about all the difficulties we're going to have and how hard life is going to be, or how much change is going to be. And I get that. It's normal to be wary of what's going to happen in the future. But ultimately, we have to remember, and this is what I'm saying to you, it's all fantasy. No one knows what tomorrow's going to bring. We can guess. We can sort of kind of plan for it. But ultimately, we don't know. But as Christians, and our resilience comes from faith that our future, whatever it is in the hands of a loving God. And that kind of faith, that our future is in the hands of a loving God, and we refuse to give up who we are and whose we are and what God calls us to be, when we refuse to give up and we put our faith in God's love, there is a toughness and a peace and a survivability and a joy even that nothing can be taken. It cannot be taken from us. Resilience, faith, trust, giving one's future to God. That's where the peace that passes all understanding comes from. We may still have our difficulties and our struggles, but that peace and trusting God's love, that's the most precious thing we have. That's Unlocking the Word. Hope to see you at Toward the Dawn, 10 o'clock every Sunday, Zoom link, Central Daylight Time. It's always great to have that online community. It's fantastic. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.